Hey, what's going on, everybody? Make sure that you like this video, share this video, comment on this video, and also subscribe to this channel. All right. And just a few things on my mind this morning, and I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about those things, and I hope it really connects with somebody out there because it's real out here. And first off, I want to start by saying how healthy it is to mind your business. Some people take, when they hear the words mind your business or that's none of your business, they take it as a slight. But minding your business is very, very healthy for you because you can get caught up emotionally into somebody else's stuff and you get distracted off of your purpose. You know, typically the mind can really only focus on one thing at a time. You can multitask, but you're not going to be as effective as you would focusing on something than versus if you're thinking about somebody else or something else. So when you are minding someone else's business and you allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into what they got going on in their lives, what's going to end up happening is you will hit the point of emotional connection to that situation. And that's when you will start to lose yourself in that situation and you can't really focus on your situation. And nobody can love you more than you love you. Like, even if somebody is trying to love you a lot, if you lack love or you are low on love for yourself, then that is the ceiling that a person can hit for you. And what's frustrating about somebody that doesn't love themselves enough is you want to love this person more and they want you to love them more, perhaps, but they get in their own way of you loving them more. If you were sent, if a person comes into your life and they were sent to you as a blessing, you end up blocking your blessing because you haven't a lot of times taken the time to love yourself up to a point where you can receive all that a person has come into your life to give you. So you have to be very, very careful when you are not minding your own business. You negate yourself from expansion and acceleration and heightening. Is that what you want to do? You don't have time to mind someone else's business unless it's your business to mind someone else's business. I'm not talking about if you got children. I'm not talking about if you got a spouse, but even with a spouse, to some typical degree, you have to employ trust in someone else. And here's the thing about trust. Trust is something that you can start out with. You shouldn't punish someone else in a trust department because somebody previously betrayed you. You got to go and get that taken care of. You got to go and get that dealt with and fixed. And I'm not asking you to forget, but I'm asking you to forgive. Because if you don't, not forgiving one person can have an adverse effect on how you deal with another person. And maybe the person that betrayed you wasn't worthy of your trust. But this person that's coming behind may be so worthy of your trust. And they will grow frustrated in trusting, in trying to earn your trust, because you don't earn trust. You just, you get it and you take care of it and keep it. So trust is kept and trust isn't earned unless somebody betrays you, loses your trust, and try to earn your trust back. And earning trust takes more than normal energy. You can't give somebody who trust you're trying to earn normal energy. It's the equivalency of overtime, and it's overtime. But you never really get the trust of a person back 100%. All right. It's just like a broken glass. If you break a glass, no matter how attention to detail oriented you are in putting that glass, let's just say you broke it in the middle of a floor and nothing else was around, and it was a floor where you could see all of the pieces. Do you think that you could put that glass back 100%? No, because some of those pieces are big, small, and then some of those people, though those pieces are so micro that you're going to miss something. You can try as you may, and you may be able to put it back and it may look similar to what it was, but it will never be what it was. Oh man, I got 90% of it. Oh man, I got 98%. You will never have 100% of something that's been broken like a piece of glass, and that's how trust works. Okay? If I go in my kitchen and I open up my cabinet and I look, I have glass, I have glass, I have glasses in there. And so I don't just have one glass, I have a lot of glasses. All right. And some of the glasses, they look the same because when we bought the glasses, we bought them in sets. So these are exactly the same looking glasses. So if I go in there and I grab one of the glasses and I drop the glass, if I drop the glass, I have a I can spend my time trying to put that glass back together. And that just depends on how important it is to me to put it back together. Or, I can clean it up, throw it away, and then I can go in the cabinet and grab another glass. And I'm not saying when you have problems, sweep it away and this, that, and the other. But what I'm basically saying is if I allow myself, if those glasses had feelings, okay, let's just say those glasses are people, right? If I do put that glass back together, all right, and somebody else in my house goes for that same glass, and my glass has feelings, right? Let's just pretend. If that person grabs that broken, now repaired glass, that glass isn't going to have the opportunity to be utilized the way it was created to be utilized if nobody else picks it up. Or if somebody else picks it up and it doesn't want to be picked up, right? And I'm likening the glass to how it is when somebody's hurt us. If somebody hurts us and we don't allow ourselves to be handled again, if we don't allow ourselves to be picked up again, then how in the world will we have a chance if we don't trust again? So yes, things happen to you and it hurts. I know. But can you be honest about, have you dealt with that? Have you even tried to address it? Have you talked to somebody about it? Or do you do like a lot of people and you pretend it never happened and you move on? You put on your big people pants and you say, I'm straight. I'm cool. Hey Lee, are you all right? Straight. You look like you upset about something. I'm good. I'm good. Now why you worrying me? You can't go through life never facing anything that won't knock you down. Excuse me. You can't go through life facing anything that won't knock you down, that won't chip at you, that won't bruise you, that won't mess with you. And you got hurt one time and you're saying to yourself, I'm never going to be hurt again. So I'm just going to go through life and I'm just going to never let anybody get that close to me again. Because avoiding pain is worth more than getting your gain. You know, love is a risk you take, but the rewards of love, when you take it, can be great. If you don't play, you can't win. And I'm not trying to say love is a game, although some people play with love. They play with relationships, but you have to be a better scout, because the path that you're walking, someone's walked it before. Too many to count have walked the same path that you are walking in terms of general things. Now, nobody's ever walked your path for your specific purpose. I'm not talking about that. What I am speaking of is you're not the first person to get in a relationship. You won't be the last. You're not the first person to get married. You won't be the last. If you are divorced, you weren't the first, and you're not going to be the last. These things are going to happen, but they happen to people because they either pay attention to details or they don't pay attention to details. So it's going to cost, but what are you willing to pay? You willing to pay up front or you willing to pay on the back end? And a lot of us, because we don't want to, because paying up front makes it so it doesn't feel good for you, we will put off paying things up front. But the reality is we're going to pay. And what are you willing to pay? When I go to the store and I see something that I want at any point in my life, what it is that I want has to match what I'm willing to pay. The match has to be what I'm willing to pay and what the cost of it is. If I see something and I say, ooh, I like that, and I look at the price tag and I say something like, I ain't paying that, then the desire to have it doesn't meet or exceed what I'm willing to pay for it. But when we start talking about people, it's not a monetary price. It's a time, effort, and energy price. And if you let somebody in your life hurt you so much that you just don't even want to deal with people anymore, you just don't want to deal with relationships anymore, You fell in love with someone, and this person did something to hurt you, and it hurt you so bad that you just cut everything off. And the reality is, a lot of times we we attach ourselves to people, places, and things that aren't good for us because we're not willing to pay the price up front, the due diligence, the opening our eyes, the opening our ears, and receiving the information and assessing things before we are invested in. It's almost like sometimes when we are getting in relationships are like stocks, right? If you are going to buy a stock, if I walked up to you and said, "Man, this is a hot stock, you should buy it." If if you were to say, "Okay, I'm in," and you were able to, what would other people assess that as? So you don't know anything about the stock. Why are you buying the stock? Yeah, my boy told me though. Yeah, but don't you need some more information? Don't you need more information to be able to come to the conclusion that this is the stock that you want to buy? Nah, man, my boy said it's all good. And look, it could turn out well for you. And that's great. That's a lazy way to get a good outcome. But the correct way is to say, "Oh, yeah, that's a good stock. Can I get some more information?" Now, some of you say that in life to put people off, but sincerely, you do need more information. So you have to do some research. So even if the stock is good, you have to research, you have to, you know, find other people's experiences. You have to do everything that you can. And it's not fun. Imagine when you get a big contract, the one that signs it that doesn't read it, but they're trusting the circumstances that's going on around them, just like easy. One, and I know I said early, trust is not something that you earn, but once you determine somebody to be a worthy enough candidate, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay? But if but before you give them the benefit of the doubt, you have to get some information before they can earn the right to have the benefit of the doubt. So when you're talking about a stock, or you're talking about a relationship, or you're talking about dealing with people, before you give them your heart, before you give them your all, before you give them your soul, you have information that you have to get on this person. And just because you run across some bad information, that doesn't always mean that that person's canceled out. Because anybody that's lived on this earth long enough, they've got some bad, they've got some bad dings on their life credit report. It's an assessment of by you to determine if you can deal with that. If you've got some things on your credit report, you can still get the loan. You just might not get it at the interest rate that you want to get it at, right? So it's the same thing with people. When you come across somebody and they have something on their life report and you feel like, "Oh, this is bad," then you have to make a determination at what interest rate you're going to give them your trust. I knew a girl, she had a brother. She got her brother a house. The brother was supposed to take care of the mortgage. For whatever reason, he didn't. And now you got to be close to buy your brother a house, right? Or your sister a house or something like that. But because he didn't do what he was supposed to do, whether it was justified or not, she just didn't even want to deal with him anymore. And you can't go through life when something goes wrong, you're going one way, and then you make a complete 180 and do this. Because every time life goes wrong, you're going to go this way, and then you're going to go that way, and you're going to go that way, and that way. And is this progress? It's movement. And a lot of us in our lives, we have movement, but we're doing this. We're just pacing. We're going backwards and forward. So are we getting anywhere? No. We become hamsters on the hamster wheel. We just keep going in circles. It might be giving us a physical advantage. It might help us from a cardiovascular standpoint, but is it getting us anywhere? I mean, if I'm moving, I want to go somewhere. I know a lot of people, listen, I'm the type of person, I can get on a treadmill or I can get on an elliptical machine. But you know what I would rather do? I would rather get out and I would rather get some scenery. And so I would rather go somewhere where I can just walk and I can see things because it stimulates me to keep moving. It's more of a mental process to get on a treadmill. And you'll see a lot of times people get on a treadmill and they will read a book or they will listen to music. They have to do something to stimulate them to keep them doing something that they need to do. But if I go on a walk, I don't have to listen to music. I can go on a walk and I can just enjoy the peace because I'm being stimulated by the different things that I see or the different people I see. When you get hurt, you cannot sweep it under the rug. You cannot act like it doesn't happen or it didn't happen. You have to sit back and you have to assess why, who, what, when, where, and how about the situation. And you got to have conclusive answers to each of those things. What happened? That's the most obvious. Because you feel what happens or what happened. When did things go wrong? What did I do? What part did I play in what went wrong? A lot of times people will be victimized and they will just say, well, things went bad when so-and-so did this to me. Okay, we can easily point out what other people do to us. But as I always say, and you've heard before probably, when you point at somebody, you see these three fingers right here, they're pointing right back at me. So I need to look at myself 3 times as much as I need to look at somebody else because I'm the gatekeeper of me. And you're the gatekeeper of you. So you have to appropriately guard yourself. What I mean by that is you want to guard yourself after something happens, but you should have security. You don't get security after somebody breaks into your house. I mean, that's a natural thing to do. But if you can afford security, you get security. You don't wait until something happens. You prepare for prevention. I'm not going to let somebody hurt me. So I'm going to be on guard for signs that looks like they're going to hurt me. But a lot of times when you're in your feelings in a relationship, you get the signs and you ignore them thinking that things are going to be better. You have to trust your gut. Yeah, but if I just walk away, I'll never know how it turns out. You don't always have to have closure. That's the problem. You want closure to everything. But closure is not always going to have a good effect on you. If you're in a relationship, for an example, and you hear the person that you're with plotting to kill you, are you going to say, well, I don't think that this person will kill me. Let me just go ahead and wait it out because I really like this person. I enjoy being with this person. This person is attractive. Heck no, you're not going to do that. You know what you ought to do? You know what you should do? You know what, if you don't do this, you're a bonehead for? You should get away, get out of that situation, and not have closure, and not have, even if, I don't care what it is. If you get a sign like that, you just need to leave, and you just need to just say, you know what? I'm gonna go through withdrawal of missing this person and this, that, and the other. But this person showed me something that is not good for anybody involved. Because I'm gonna either go to jail, I'm gonna they're gonna go to jail, which I don't care about at that point, or one of us is gonna get hurt or killed. So I'm gonna get out of the situation. You have to assess those things. You have to have an ongoing assessment of things and people in your life. You have to constantly reevaluate people in your life. Even the people that are closest to you, you have to reevaluate your children. You have to reevaluate your spouse. It's no different than being in school and getting a progress report. If you get a progress report, it tells you what's going on, where you're slipping and where you're lacking. I remember when I was in school and I got a progress report, some things that I was struggling with, I wasn't even paying attention to, and it had to be pointed out to me. And they used to make us sign they used to make us take our progress reports home to our parents, get them to review it with us, or get them to review it, sign it, and bring it back by a certain period of time. You have to give progress report on things, no matter how good they're going and no matter how bad they're going. But a lot of times, you don't. If they're going bad, you don't need to get to the point of progress report. That is your report. It's an emergency report. It's breaking news. Bad news, you see, good news isn't really breaking news. Bad news is really breaking news. So you might not. So if the news comes on at 6 o'clock and the news comes on at 11 o'clock, and then you see something flash on your screen at 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, it's not the normal time to get your news, but you should get an indicator on your television that says breaking news. If somebody important dies, it says breaking news. If something hostile breaks out, it says breaking news. There's certain things that can't wait for the time of the progress report. It needs to be delivered to you right away. Why? Because it may be something that warrants you making a quick decision to put yourself in the best situation. Now we want all of the things that we're connected to, we want them to work out. But they don't work out sometimes because we didn't do the upfront body of work that needed to be done. And even when we do the upfront body of work, it doesn't guarantee 100%. But if you're going to minimize the infliction on your life, on yourself, on your person, then you need to be upfront about your payment. You would never go out there. This is a problem sometimes too. I was talking to somebody, I'm not going to name them. They said a family member was supposed to come and provide a business service for them. Right? Let's call person A. Let's just use fake names, okay? Let's say Sarah, okay, was looking for Tyrone to come over and provide a service. Now, Sarah and Tyrone are family. Okay, so Sarah needs this service. Tyrone said, I'll give you the service. So Tyrone said, hey, listen, it's going to cost you $100 for me to do this service. See, what happens a lot of times, Sarah said, that's how much you charge? Especially in our community. Come on, give me the hookup. And it's just like, no, I need this. This is what the cost of the service is for anybody. And this is to cover the labor, this is to cover time, this is to cover equipment and things of that nature. I have to run a business. So Sarah should be understanding of Tyrone having to do her business. She just trusting Tyrone to do the business because she knows Tyrone, but she shouldn't be trusting Tyrone to do the business and then shortchange him what his service is worth. Now, if Tyrone wants to give and provide a discounted or a free service, it should come from Tyrone. That's why when you're dealing with family, sometimes you got to mark up the price and give them a discount because they need to feel the illusion that they're getting a hookup. It's sad that you got to do that, but sometimes in order to do business with family, that's what it is. But what I'm saying here is Sarah wanted to get the service, but Sarah wasn't so quick to pay for the service. And got an attitude because Tyrone didn't want to do the service. Yeah, I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna pay you. No, give me my money up front so that I can go ahead and render those services. Is what Tyrone was coming from. Sarah had no right trying to expect something without giving something in return. And that's what we do in our relationships when we get involved in relationships. We don't want to do our due diligence to find out the information that we need to make a better assessment. We see that beautiful car and we say, I want that car. We're so emotional about wanting that car because it's the right color, it's the right, you like the sleekness of it, the style of it, this, that, and the other. But you never took the opportunity to even test drive it. You never took the opportunity to look under the hood. You never took the opportunity to get the Carfax report. You never took the opportunity to find out how many owners of it has it had. You never took the opportunity to find out if it was a flood car. You never did any of those things. Then you get the car home, and guess what? It drives home and it drives fine. And now you're out showing everybody your car. And then all of a sudden, now something's wrong with the transmission. Something's wrong with the axles. Something's wrong with the bar link. Something's wrong with the steering. And you're upset because you're like, how could somebody sell me a car and it have all of these problems? Well, they were trying to get rid of it. And they did everything that they needed to get. And they had a sticker on the side that said as is. You never asked the questions and you never did your due diligence. That's your job. And now you're upset and you want to sue them. You want to report them. You want to make them look bad. You want nobody else to shop there. But the reality of this situation is it's not their job to tell you every little thing that's wrong with that car. It's an integrity move when they do that, but they don't have to do that. That's why they have to sign on those cars that they're selling at these B lots that says as is. It doesn't mean that they're all bad, but it does mean that you've got to find it out. Why not take the opportunity and have a mechanic look at the car? My recommendation is go to go to a certified dealer. Go to the dealership. If it's a Ford, take it to a Ford dealership. If it's a Kia, take it to a Kia dealership. If it's a Honda, take it to a Honda dealership. Why? Because they have standards, not some rinky-dink mechanic. They have standards. You don't have to get the services from them, but you can get the evaluation from them. So you just got to know when you're getting involved with somebody that you need to get the white paper on them. You need to read up on them. You need to study up on them. Google them. Google this person and you see they got a mugshot. And doesn't necessarily mean you have to say, I ain't dealing with that person. But you do need to find out what it was for, how recently it was. It's something that happened recently and they sitting there and you bring it to their attention. They're like, man, you nosy, you going through my stuff. You don't have to address them and say, but I'm supposed to check on you. You just say, okay, my bad. My bad. I was just trying to find out more about you. Well, you could have asked me. How am I supposed to ask you, have you ever been to jail? Or how am I supposed to ask you if you had a felony? Like how would you have wanted me to ask you that? And then maybe you take something from them. They may tell you something that helps you the next time you get in a situation. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a beautiful woman and I wanted to talk to her. Okay. And then I find out some stuff about her and I bring it to her and she goes, why you all in my business like that, or whatever the case may be. And it just turns into, we don't end up becoming anything. And I look at her and I say, but she had a body on her, boy. I would have loved to have gotten some of that. Or, because that's what men want. Men want the juice box, right? So, dang, maybe I should have just not said anything I should have just went on and I should have at least got me some. Okay, that is a terrible way of thinking because every experience ain't for you. Every experience ain't for you. So don't be upset because you don't get to experience something that you want to experience, because some of the things that you want to experience come with a toll, comes with a price that you ain't willing to pay. There's nothing like getting to the register and not having enough money for the food, products, or services that you have. I don't know about you being there, but I've been there. I've been to the register and I've been short. And if you it's embarrassing when you got a line standing behind you. You get to the register and you show it. What do? Okay, I don't, you know what? I don't really need this. You're trying to act cool about it, but you're embarrassed. You're wondering what people are thinking about you most of the time. And some of you say, I don't care what people say. Okay, then why did you say, you know what? I don't need this. No, you grabbed it because you wanted it. You needed it. You saw, hey, it's a lot of stuff that you walk past in the store that you didn't get because you ain't had no interest in it, need or want. But you got to the register with everything that you got because these are the items that you wanted. So if it's something that you want, can you pay for it? But in life and relationships, it's not about paying in currency. It's about paying in time. It's about paying in patience. It's about paying in effort. You might have to do something extra to be able to get what you need to get on a standard level. Are you willing to do that? Maybe one feature or maybe one aspect of a person compensates for something else that they're lacking. It's like if a woman, she might have a little bit of she might be a little crazy, right? But she's so beautiful to you, you willing to deal with some of that crazy. Now I know that's not what you should do, but that's what that's what we do. We will entertain something that we shouldn't entertain because there's an overcompensation in another department. Guys do it all the time. A woman will be a headache, and he will stick with her and her headaches because the love making is good. Man, she can cook. She makes money, or whatever it is that ticks for that particular man, shallow or deep. He may say, I'll deal with this because I'm willing to, because what I'm getting out of it outweighs what I am having to put up with. So you just got to all, and there's no silver bullet for how you assess, but it's a silver bullet in terms of getting the information that you need up front. Because when you start to have emotions for them, then then you become lazy. Because what is love? Love is like, it's smiles, it's relaxation, it's peace, it's comfort. These are the wonderful attributes about feeling love and being in love. And so love makes you lazy. I'm not going to worry about that. Like, what is your relationship? What is the person that you're interested in? What is their relationship with other people? Children, parents, siblings. What is this person like when they get upset? Do they set the whole world on fire? Or do they process it with logic? Like, these are things that are really, really important. And I can't tell you what's important to you, but I know that you're gonna know what's important to you, because if it's an issue, you're either gonna take exception to the issue or not. Either way, something that might be a red flag for me might not be a red flag for you. But you know what you have to do? You have to assess what your tolerance is for this. And you have to give yourself the worst case scenario outcome with that too. This person is jealous. So this person is going to always uh, that can breed insecurity. This person is always going to check with me, make sure, where are you? What are you doing? Who you with? Who you loving? Who you want to be hugging? These people are going to possibly be like that. And you cannot discount the worst case scenario of it. You say, oh, well, this person is jealous. Well, maybe this person will be a little jealous because I'm not going to really give them anything to be jealous about. No, you have to say to yourself, is this person, am I willing to overcompensate to bring them security? No. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Or you can say, you know what? But these other attributes and everything like that, I love and adore this about this person, and I need that in my life. I want that in my life. So I'm willing to, you know what? Maybe I just need to let them know where I'm going. Maybe hey, listen, I'm going to go to the store, be about 20 minutes, coming back. Now, some of you might be saying, I ain't doing all of that. And that's my point. If you're not willing to do that with that particular person or anybody, then don't do it. But if you never evaluate if this, but the worst thing is you finding out after you are interested and after you're into a person, you finding out the hard way that this person is a jealous person and you don't like dealing with jealous people. Now you're sitting there and you're debating, but I already like this person. I'm already, this particular area of the relationship is so good and I'm enjoying that. So now you're tolerating something that you said you wouldn't tolerate. Man, she's so jealous, man. Dang. I can't stand it when people are jealous. But it ain't going nowhere. Now you compromising your keys. And that's not an unrealistic thing, because some of y'all have expectations and criteria that are unrealistic. But if you don't want to deal with jealousy, that's not something that's unrealistic, because there are people out there that are not jealous people. And you need to be paired with somebody that's not a jealous person. But somebody typically who been in a situation that sprung up jealousy in them, because we're all capable of being jealous. It's just that there's different levels to it. If somebody says, like if a low level of jealousy is just like you getting dressed up and your partner looking at you and saying, where you going looking that good? Oh, I'm just going to run out real quick. You're like, all right, don't hurt them now. That's a little cute jealousy, right? It's cute. But that person saying, you ain't going nowhere looking like that. Take them clothes back up. Take them clothes off and go back upstairs. And stand in front of the door like, you ain't getting out of here like that. Like, that's a different level. And if you think that's cute, that's cool. But if you don't think that's cute, then that's not cool. You're going to have to make sure that you understand that you have to do your due diligence on finding out the information, not just with people, but places and things. Everything needs an upfront payment. Stop looking for services that you pay for at the end. All right. Stop being that type of person. If it's a certain matter of fact, you are in an advantage when a service costs some money and you pay it up front. Now you have the authority and the power to be able to demand and expect the services to be rendered a certain type of way. If it's being sold to you that this is a 5-star service, then you should expect 5 stars. So if you pay for something and they are not giving you the services that you have been sold on or expect, then they can have, that's what a money back guarantee is. See, a lot of you want to get in, let's jump into a relationship. No, how about let's try some things first and see how it works. Like, let's talk a little bit. See, when a person expects you to when a person expects you to pay up front, that's good. That's good. But I need to know if I'm paying for something, whether it's my time, effort, or energy or money, I need to know what can I expect. And if I don't get what I expect, where's my refund? Where's my now? Look, in relationships, you can't get refunds, but you can say, all right, look, if if I'm willing to do this to get access to that, but if I do this, then my expectations of getting access to that is this, and make it clear and make it plain to them. If they say, well, I can't do all of that, well, I'm not going to give you access to this. All right. And then it's over. And you'll sit back and you'll wonder what could have been. But trust me, it's no consequence to sit there and dwell. I mean, you shouldn't dwell on that about what it could have been. It could have been a lot of things. It could have been a lot of things. But that don't matter. You're on to the next, you're unscathed, and you're moving forward, and you don't have to be sitting there holding your guard up because you done been beat up so bad. You take less beatings doing your upfront work and paying for it upfront. As I said before with the car, to get somebody to look over my car is not going to be free. I'm going to have to pay for something, but it's a small price to pay to make a determination if I want the services that they're recommending to be rendered. Some inspections, I used to do inspections. I used to crawl underneath houses and stuff like that. Those inspections were free. Why did I do those inspections? Because I got an opportunity to look at problems and issues, bring it forth to the customer, the homeowner, and the homeowner would be able to assess that they wanted to do that or not. And I had to trust and believe in my services and my findings so much to put myself in a position to do something free. That's the guarantee that I gave. That's the guarantee that the company gave. So it's the same thing. You might have to give some guarantees up front. You might have to, not guarantees up front, but you may have to give something of great value for free up front. But you got to be willing to whatever you're giving to lose. You got to be willing to give something. So if a woman wants you to take her out on an expensive date, first date, well, are you okay with the money that you're going to spend throwing it in the toilet? Or are you flexing like it ain't no problem when it really is a problem? That's your fault. She wants to go to she wants a 5-star dining experience, and you don't have a 5-star type of income where you can waste a 5-star dollar amount. That's your fault. And it doesn't make her a bad person because she wants a 5-star dining experience. But if I'm going to give you a 5-star dining experience, I need to know what can I really expect in return. And I need to make clear what I'm expecting. See, some of you are taking these girls out on dinners and you're tricking off and you're taking them shopping or whatever the case may be, and you have the underlying expectation that that's going to lead to her in your bed. And she has every right to not get into your bed. And you have no right forcing her into your bed, as you know. But but your problem is you weren't clear. She says to you, hey, I want to go out to blankety blank blank restaurant. Take me out. Or you know what? Let's get away for a week and let's go to this place. You don't have to say necessarily no, but it's like you could say to yourself, okay, well, what would make me want to do something like that for you? You have to know what it is that you're willing to do that for. Come on. You want to, we just met and you want to fly out. Okay. So you made your expectations really clear. Let me make my expectations really clear. Now, if you ain't interested, now my expectations, your expectations, and the next man's expectations can be totally different. Some men would be fine doing that. A man who's really, really well off, he may just say, you know what, I'm cool with the company and I'm not interested in anything else. If he wants to do that, then let him do that. But if he does not want to do that and he wants something in return for it, he owes it to her to tell her, hey, if I do something like that, no disrespect, but here's what I would be expecting. Are you game for that? There's nothing wrong with being honest. You use as much tact as you can. You be as tactful as you can when you are saying something to someone because you don't want to be disrespectful. But if what you want is what you want, you need to communicate that with clarity to the person to give them an opportunity to be able to say, I'm with that. Now, you can't do the whole it's a silent understanding because you'll fly her out and then you're frustrated that she didn't give you what you wanted. Oh, yeah. Like, and I already said this, men want access to sex. That's what we want. So I don't know why you feel so taboo talking about it. You don't have to always talk about it. But if you're expecting it by doing a certain thing, you need to find a way to communicate that. Say, listen, I don't know any kind of nice way to say this, or I don't know the best way to say this, but you want me to fly you out, right? And I find you very attractive. So are we just going out there on some, what's the word I'm looking for? Platonic? Are we just going out there on some platonic stuff? You know, a few laughs, giggles, and everything like that. You know, good night. I go to sleep. You go to sleep. Or are we going out there on some, let's connect in a physical sense? Well, I don't know about all of that. Oh, okay. I don't know if I want to take you on a trip like that and not expect that. Maybe we should take that trip at another time. Besides, we just met. Let's get to know each other a little bit more. Yeah, she's going to be uncomfortable with that if she really wants to fly out, but you saved yourself so much trouble. You saved yourself so much trouble. And you saved her so much trouble. She might say, you know what, whatever, later for this. I'm not interested. Congratulations. You just found out the real reason she wanted to deal with you in the first place. She just wanted to be, as they say, flued out. Flued out. So, I mean, it's hard out here, but you got to keep stepping to the plate. You got to keep stepping to the plate. Don't get upset because you step to the plate and the pitch doesn't come right down the line for you to hit. I mean, you're going to get some different, I've said this before, you're going to get some different types of pitches. You're going to get some curve balls. She going to throw a curve, he or she is going to throw a curve at you. Change ups, sinkers, sliders, knuckleballs. And those are some of the hardest. Those can be some for some batters. Those can be some hits that are hard to make or impossible for them to make. So what do you do when you get a knuckleball? Like, don't swing at it. Or take the strike. And sometimes you strike out. Sometimes you strike out. But it won't be your only plate appearance. See, the problem today is cats are afraid to strike out. It's embarrassing to them. We live in a class participation award type of society where everybody got celebrated just for participating. But real life is not like that. Real life is not going to reward you for just showing up to the plate. You are only going to get rewarded by what you earn. If you hit that ball and you can only get to first base and you wanted to get the third or you wanted to get home, well, you know what? Count your blessings you got to first base because everybody doesn't hit a home run every single time. Nobody can vouch for that. In batting, nobody can say that they batted 400, 500 for their career. Like, it is not. I think the most successful batter was a man named Ty Cobb. And I want to say it was like 38 He bet 380 something. Don't quote me on that. But I do know Ty Cobb holds the record for, and I think he played like 20 some years too. I know it was a lot of different competition then, but even if the competition was per se lesser back then, batting 380 is like hitting less than 4 out of 10 balls that come across the plate. So no man can sit there and say he's never struck out. Because men strike out. Men strike out. I can't tell you how many times I struck out. Like, I'll go up to a woman in my day and I will say, hello. And just from hello, I get shot down. Oh, you're not my type. Oh, I don't want to. Please, you're wasting my. Or sometimes they look at me like, nah, no, I'm not interested. Or here's the favorite one: I got a boyfriend. And don't be having a boyfriend. Or I'm married. Well, where's your ring? It could be a lot of things, but when you learn how to accept no, go back to the drawing board and reevaluate, then you can get to your yes. Even if you don't go back to the drawing board, if you just develop a propensity to say, you know what, it's okay to be told no, then you'll get to your yes. I remember when I first got into insurance, there was my mentor. He told me, congratulations on getting a no. You're one no closer away. You're one no closer to a yes. He also gave me this strategy, right? He also told me this story here. He said there was an insurance company, and they had five insurance agents, and out of those five insurance agents, they would get 3 sales a month, right? So they called on this guy who was very successful in selling insurance to come in and speak to his group so that they could possibly increase their sales. So they paid this guy this money for him to spend his time to come and get in front of those five agents so that they could get their sales numbers up. So they were expecting something really, really elaborate. This was one of the best salesmen in the country. They paid some good money for him to come in. And when he came in, he asked this question. He said, how are you guys getting your sales? They said, well, we try to post some things on social media and stuff like that, but most of our sales, comes from leads that come in. Oh, okay, so you guys are a lead-based company. Well, no, no, he said, well, the results say that you're a lead-based. Now, how many leads do you get coming in? Oh, we might get five or six. In a what period? Oh, well, we might get 5 or 6 in a month. So y'all don't have as many opportunities. So y'all are actually pretty good at what you do. They were expecting to not hear that. Well, what do you mean? Well, if you're getting 5 or 6 leads coming in every month and you're selling 3, you're batting like 500. And he used the basketball analogy. He said, if you were a batter for your career in the major leagues and you bat 500, you would be the greatest hitter of all time. So you guys are pretty good. Yeah, but we're not selling enough. Well, that's the other thing. You're not selling enough because you don't have enough opportunities. And a lot of times we think, what do we need to have more opportunities? But we just avoid what's obvious to have the opportunity. He said, all right, so we're going to have a 30-day exercise. All right. And he pulled out a map. He said, okay. And he gave each one of the 5 a location. And he said, I want y'all to go into the locations and I want you to park your cars and I want you to get out and I want you to go and door knock on every door. And they said, okay. And he said, and here's what I want you to say. Hi, my name is such and such. You wouldn't happen to need life insurance, would you? They said, "That's it?" He said, "Yeah, that's it." Expecting some kind of special script, they were surprised. So what ended up happening was these 5 people in their geographical locations, they went out there and they knocked on doors from the time that they started to the time that they stopped, all equally. And what they found was they would go to the doors and they would just say, "Hi, my name is Sally. Hi, my name is Jim. Hi, my name is Tom. Hi, my name is David. Hi, my name is Tisha. Um, I work for so and so and so, and I was just stopping by to see, did you guys need any life insurance?" And guess what? A lot of people said no. A lot of people said no. But after a week, everybody had about 5 or 10 sales apiece. So they harbored on all of this rejection. That's not what they wanted to do. They didn't like getting beat up with rejection, but they were selling individually what the company was selling as a whole. In a month, they were selling it in a week. And this one have 5, this one have 7, this one have 8, this one have 10, this one have 13. Okay. And it was like, even the person that had 5 was excited for the person that had 13, because guess what? The person who's got 5 was getting their needs met, because life insurance pays great commissions. And so the 5 that he sold, that person was making about $6,000-$7,000 in a week, when the company was making $6,000-$7,000 in a month. And all that guy came in and said to them was, "I just want you to go to every door. I want you to introduce yourself and just ask them, you wouldn't happen to need life insurance, would you?" And they were able to make the sales. So a lot of times you think it takes great skill. And this is what a lot of times what happens out here. You think it takes a great skill to do something, but it takes nothing to give effort. It takes nothing to be willing to take your strikes. All you need to do is have the courage to keep coming to the plate and to keep swinging. Matter of fact, if you're not good at hitting a knuckleball, eventually you're going to either hit one just by happenstance, or you're going to figure out what you need to do just from the experience of it to swing for that. But you're even better prepared when you make a mistake or you have a failure, to not sweep it under the rug and reevaluate why it happened and gave you the result that you didn't want. I'm looking for that fastball so much. I know I don't have a lot of time to swing, but when that changeup comes, I'm swinging too early because it's so slow. But the pitcher does this every time they do a knuckleball. The pitcher does this every time they do a fastball. So I'm going to read my cues, and when I see the pitcher do this, I am going to sell out and believe that what's coming is what I trust my studying told me. And I'm going to swing like I'm supposed to swing for that particular pitch. So when this pitch comes, I'm going to do this. I might choke up on the bat, or I might, kick my foot in the sand a couple of times if it's a changeup, because I know I have a little more time. But I'm going to do these types of things, and I'm going to make sure that they're ready. When the pitcher looks at when the pitcher is looking, I know this is one of the favorite pitches that the pitcher likes to pitch. So I know the pitcher gets excited about that. What about football? Oh, you know what? When the receiver knows it's a passing play, the receiver tugs on his gloves. Okay. But when it's a run play, the receiver never tugs on his gloves. So I'm going to use that as a key. We're struggling in the run defense. So I'm going to use that as a key. I'm going to come off of my guy. I'm going to believe and come off of my guy for this particular thing. But I know I'm going to have to change it up soon, because The offensive coordinator sitting up in the booth, and the offensive coordinator is going to tell the quarterback to look for that. So I know I have to make sure I'm evaluating myself too. So these are some of the things that you can do to read and react, because you want to be in a situation where you can play fast, and you want to be in a situation where the game slows down. And so that's in life. It's the same thing. A lot of times when you go out there and you're so scared to talk to a woman or a man or whatever the case may be, you're so scared that you go out there with this preconceived thing that you're gonna do and gonna say, and you're not listening. When she just said something that would trigger you to do something else, and you ain't even paying attention to the triggers. You gotta do your homework, and it costs to do your homework up front. Man, I hate it. I hate it when I had a lot of homework and I was thinking about going home and playing basketball with my boys. I hated that. Like, I was like, Lord, like every day I would be sitting there saying, please don't give me a lot of homework, because I want to hurry up and go out there and play basketball. And we get home. What was it? We let's just say we got home at about 2:30. Okay. And I heard the basketball sometimes at about 4 o'clock. And sometimes when I got so much homework. I got to read these chapters. I got to write this up. I got to do this worksheet. I got to do this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be, man. And sometimes I rushed to do that so I could go out there and play basketball, but it came and bit me in the hindparts. But what I had to learn was, don't rush what I need to do to put myself in the best situation. I just need to take a deep breath and do the research. Because when you're talking about like relationships, you playing with your life. You don't get those years back. It's even worse for a woman, because she's dealing with a biological clock. But no less, us men, we're dealing with a clock too, because we don't live as long as women. So we want to get things right, and we want to get things right as soon as possible. What would you rather do? Would you rather be the dude that had a lot of experiences with women of all sorts and heartbreaks and this, that, and the other? Or would you rather be the guy who has minimal experiences with women because you got it right? See, you don't need to sleep with every woman in the world, okay? I know society and your boys will tell you that you need to have notches under your belt. But at the end of the day, all of the women have the same thing between their legs that the next woman has. A nice portal that'll take you out of this world. And if she halfway take care of herself, that's typically going to be good. That's been my experience in my life. Now, you got some guys out there that say, nah, man, they different. They different. That is not my experience. What makes it different is the intimacy and the dedication. If it's just casual, you will accomplish the same things that you get from dedication to this. But when you with somebody that you got something, you got substance with, that makes it better. Now look, some of you might not agree with me. Some of you just like, nah, you got to go out there and you have to get it. Okay, you have to go out there and you have to get it, but then you go out there and you get it. And what you may get from that experience might be something that you can't come back from. That has to be taken into consideration. And it ain't necessarily got to be pregnancy or STD. It can be some soul ties. Do you want that on you? Or what happened if you just want to have a casual encounter with a woman? Because this has happened to me. You want to have a casual encounter with a woman, and she likes it a little bit more than she should like it. You did a little, you outperformed her expectations. You gave her an experience she hadn't had. She ain't telling you, but you gave her an experience that she has never had, and she enjoyed it very much. And you don't give her access to it as much as she want to after that. Man. Some of you might have those stories, but I'm just telling you, It can get crazy. You think that it's going to be, I'm just going to lay down with her and then do my thing, and then everything's, mm-mm. It's, somebody typically gets feelings caught up. Even if you both agree that you guys just want to just be, just casually fool around. Women change. Women change. You know what? I know I said that, but I want some more now. I want more. What do you mean you want more? Well, I know I told you that I didn't want anything, but you're a good guy. I like you. I can see myself with you. Oh gosh, that's not what we signed up for. She don't care. She don't care if that's not what she signed up for. She only cares that this is what she now wants that's new. And so she's sitting there saying, run me that. Y'all seen that video of, what's her name? Young Miami? Okay. Her and P. Diddy. And she said, we go together now real bad. She said it with so much conviction and so much confidence, right? And it caught him off guard. He was like, what? So we go together now? Whatever you say. He just wanted peace. Whatever you say. But he is different than you and I. He's got the resources to do things that you and I don't have the resources to do. Even if I had those resources, I don't know if I would want to do what he's doing. $100,000 a, what is it? $100,000 a week, a month, $200,000, whatever the case may be. I would never want to do that. And I love my wife dearly. But if my wife wanted me or expected me to give her that much money every week or every month, shit, every year, yo, I'm like, what are we doing here? We ain't building, you taking. But you know, that's just me. You got to do your homework on these folks. Because everything that glitter ain't gold for you. It might be gold for somebody else, but it's not necessarily gold for you. You have to be clear about what you want to yourself before you can communicate what you want from somebody else. Then when you know what you want from somebody else, you give them that opportunity. If you communicate that to them, you don't have to say, this is what I want from you. You just say, this is what I'm looking for in general. And then after you communicate what you're looking for in general, they can determine if they want to be a part of that. This is why this is what cancel culture keeps us from doing as men. Men, we have become scared of our women. We have given them, at once upon a time, women didn't have a lot of rights and women felt like they weren't heard. But progressively over the last 50 years or so, women have been getting more and more rights, and they have evolved more and more. And what that has done is that has given them a platform, which I'm grateful that they have a platform. Everybody should be heard. Even in a marriage, like even if you have a traditional marriage where where your wife stays home and you go out and work, she has every right to be heard, and she has every right to be considered. You don't have to consider 100% of the things that she's saying, but you take what she's saying into consideration and you try to give that to her in the confines of the purpose that you have for your life. I've said this before. Your purpose she can't exceed your purpose, because your purpose benefits her if she's with you. She stands to benefit the most if you achieve your purpose and you have her best interest. You wouldn't be married to her if you don't have her best interest, would you? Like, why would you marry a woman that you don't want to really be with? What, because you got some kids with her or whatever the case may be? She gonna feel that. So again, like I said, you want to make sure that you are intentional about what your goals are and where you're trying to go with things. Unapologetically. You don't stop trying to make what you want line up to what society says you should want. If you want what society is saying you should want, then that's cool. But it shouldn't be predicated on what society is saying, because if you go out there and you do what society tells you you should do, and that's not what you want to do, that's not what you need to do, you won't be happy. You will be miserable. And it'll come out in the most inopportune, unfortunate way. You know, society says happy wife, happy life. But if making a woman happy makes you miserable, what are you living for? You living for what the society thinks, or you living for what you think? I say this to I say this about men and women. If making somebody else, if giving something or giving of yourself to the other person to make them feel good or make them, I don't like to say happiness because you can't make another person happy, but if giving another person joy is to your detriment, that's terrible. It's not terrible that you're giving them joy. It's terrible that it's your detriment. Making someone, giving to someone else something that they need has to coincide with you wanting to do it. That's the thing about joy. When you're giving something to someone, you're supposed to get more out of it than they are. Seeing them smile, seeing them happy should make you happy, should make you smile even more. That's the experience with my wife. The things that I do for my wife that makes her, that gives a smile to her face, makes her feel a sense of gladness or joy or whatever the case may be, I usually get more out of it than, I always get more out of it than she gets out of it. Like listening to her saying something. I remember one time my wife said that she wanted something in particular, but she said it in passing. But I remembered that she wanted it, and I went out at an occasional time and I got it for her. And she couldn't, but she was surprised that I remembered it. Okay. Well, I won't say she was surprised, but she was glad that I remembered it. She never really asked me for it, but she said she liked it. And so she was so glad that I remembered it. I was paying attention to her. I think that meant more to her than anything else. And then the look on her face was priceless when she received the gift, and it just did, I think it did more for me than it did for her. But now on the flip side, now what if that same scenario would have played out and I did that for her, and I didn't have the money to do it? I took money away from something that needed to be done just so she could be. And that's what a lot of times what we would do as if we're simping. We will trick off like we have something when we don't, just to get a rise out of that person. But then we're sitting there like, yo, this put me in a jam. You go out there and you buy that piece of jewelry that you can't afford. You have the money technically in the bank account, but you really don't, because it's really for something else. You will take that money and you will go and give it to her for the item or the experience that you want her to have, and it sets you back so much. Only to later, when she wants something else, she thinking to herself, he got it because he did it. And then when you don't have it and you can't do it, you just set yourself up for disappointment. Now she more disappointed in you because you didn't come through like she thought you were going to come through. But you were you gave this representation that you had it, but you didn't have it. And I see that a lot. You got guys that live at home, and I ain't trying to disrespect you guys. I'm just trying to call it for what it is. Some of you have some of the best looking cars, but you don't have anywhere to stay. You don't have anywhere to stay. Like you're living with somebody else and you have these really nice cars. I mean, I know why you're doing it. Because every man wants the same thing. You're doing it for that same reason. But what I'm saying is you don't have a place to stay, and yet you have a car that anybody would dream of. Like it doesn't matter. You got a car, and you got this car, and you got like $600-700 payments that you can afford because you live with someone and don't pay bills. So what's going to happen when you meet a girl and then you guys want to live together and you got 72 months of car payments? Are you going to be able to afford that car when you're having to pony up on that rent? And I'm talking on a small level, right? I'm not talking about a house. But that woman's going to expect you to be able to take care of bills. And you put yourself in a conundrum now. You're living at home with your mom, your dad, your grandma, whoever it is. Probably don't live at home with your dad, because any dad in his right mind is not going to have a grown man going out there and acquiring these tasty responsibilities and not handling his business. He going to want you to do something around the house. And that's going to cramp your style. So, all right. So you got to get yourself together. You got to ask the right questions. And I'm wrapping this up here. These are my final thoughts. You have to get yourself together, and you have to make sure that you are front end loaded with your work that you do, for everything that you do, because you care about the outcome. Even though that outcome is not here presently, you care about the outcome more being in your favor. So you're going to do your due diligence, and you're going to get the white paper of life on everything. You meet a girl, you meet a guy. Do your homework. Do your homework. Don't apologize for doing your homework. There are some good people out there that have had some bad experiences. Just because somebody had bad experience doesn't mean that they're not a candidate to be with you. But you have to determine your risk mitigation for that person, so that, let me back up. Let me make it simple. I want everybody to understand. You have to determine if you have the patience to be with somebody that has the issues that they have. Because everybody comes with something. Everybody comes with something. But can you deal with the things that they come with that might not be so great? And does the things that are great about them outweigh for you the things that are not so great about them? When my wife met me, I had baggage. And a lot of women wouldn't have tolerated my baggage. I was coming out of a marriage that took me for a ride. I was very emotionally damaged. But my wife saw a lot of potential in me. And we talk about this. If my wife now saw me at this age that she's at, she wouldn't have entertained me. She wouldn't have entertained me, because she wouldn't have had time to entertain me, no matter how attractive she thought I was, or how whatever, fill in the blank, that she enjoyed about me. She wouldn't have cared. She would have just like, I don't have time for that. Right? But my wife now met me when we were in our early 20s. So she had more time on her hands for the potential that I was. And did it pay off for her? I can't answer that. I won't answer that. I'm not qualified to answer that. But I'll say it like this. She's happy. I'm happy. We're together. I'm just giving you facts. We're together. We created a family. And our family get along and work great together. And we look forward to every day and every experience. And she hasn't given me any reason to believe it being anything else. Now, I would like to think that if she was dissatisfied with me or unhappy with me, she would broach to me that she doesn't want to be with me. And I can never control that. I think sometimes or if I'm sitting in the seat that I'm sitting in, we're supposed to have the most perfect relationships and we're supposed to have everything going good and our relationships are supposed to last. You're talking about relationships, so your relationship's supposed to last. Listen, when it comes to my wife, I hope that it lasts and I will do on my end what I'm supposed to do to make it last. But I have no control. I have no control over her desire to want to be with me. Look, watch this. Michael Jordan played in Chicago and they had two three-peats. Okay? They could have kept that team together after the second three-peat to go for a four-peat. But a decision was made that the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan shouldn't be together anymore. So it's the same thing with marriages. Two people can make a decision, even amicably, that we don't want to be together. Now, like I said, my hope and my prayer is that we'll always be together. But even in your relationships, you can't make somebody stay with you. You can try, but they'll only resent